When I received this invitation, as a Hong Konger, I felt extremely insulted. As an American, though, I was surprised at first, but later on, I realized I shouldn't be at all, knowing that SDSU has been associated with CCP before, which was the Confucius Institute. This is the main reason why China continues to grow stronger. We are allowing them to do so. Instead of doing what's right, people are doing what's best. Yes, going against the Chinese regime, it's going to get ugly at first, but it is necessary to achieve peace later on in the future. I mean, if we continue to do what we're doing now, sooner or later, China will take over USA. I mean, Americans are encouraging their kids to learn Mandarin because they say China is the future. It's already happening. I did not attend the lecture, obviously, but I did see the recorded video, which was posted on YouTube. So I wasted 57 minutes of my life on this video just to hear what this communist pig said. And I will make it simple. Everything he said was complete bull. This lecture series was just an opportunity for CCP to persuade Americans to continue the relations with them, aka bootlegging them. But here are some parts from the lecture I would like to comment on. The pandemic.
2020 was also the most challenging year for China-US relations. COVID-19 pandemic came all of a sudden and ravaged the world, bringing huge impact to almost every country's economic, social, and people's life. Millions of people lost their precious lives. Global economy has fallen into deep recession.
Well, it is good that he acknowledged that millions have lost their lives during this pandemic and how the global economy went into recession. And yes, US-China relations were damaged, but why didn't he mention how the Chinese regime silenced the Chinese doctor who discovered the virus? Or how about silencing and imprisoning journalists for reporting the truth about the outbreak in Wuhan?
Out of its own political needs and geopolitical purpose, the US previous administration has adopted an erroneous and hostile policy toward China and resorted to every conceivable means to suppress and contain China. Some people in the United States, clinging to the Cold War mentality and ideological bias, took a series of actions which interfered China's internal affairs, undermined China's interests, and disrupted the normal exchange and cooperation, causing unprecedented damages to China-US relations and plunging the relationship into lowest point since the establishment of diplomatic ties.
How come he did not mention how they blamed others for the virus, or their claim that it was the US Army who planted the virus in Wuhan? I mean, because of some of these lies, I have met Chinese people who believe that it was Trump who started COVID. They actually believe it was Trump who invented COVID-19 and sent the US Army to Wuhan. Yes, US-China relations were damaged, but why didn't he explain what caused relations to be damaged? Xinjiang. Okay, what General Consul Ping Ping said about Xinjiang is absolutely a lie.
Issues in relation to Xinjiang, in essence, are about fighting against violence, terrorism, and separatism. The claim that there is genocide in Xinjiang couldn't be more preposterous. It is just a lie fabricated with ulterior motives. Over the past 4 decades and more, the Uyghur population in Xinjiang has more than doubled from 5.5 million to over 12 million. The freedom of religious belief of all ethnic groups is well protected in accordance with law. Some Western politicians intentionally disregarded the basic facts and make political maneuvering in an attempt to artificially create the so-called Xinjiang issues. Their ulterior motive is to undermine security and stability in Xinjiang and hold back China's development. This miscalculated attempt is doomed to fail.
The Uyghur population's doubled to 12 million, huh? Maybe that estimate is accurate, maybe or maybe not, I don't know. But Where are the majority of them located? Probably in the internment camps. And Fat Ping knows the truth about the genocide in Xinjiang, despite the way he tried to say preposterous.
Couldn't be more prosperous. Preposterous.
He claims that it is a lie, but if they don't have anything to hide, why were reporters followed and harassed when they did journalism in Xinjiang? Why were secret police following Matt Rivers from CNN while he was in Xinjiang?
We've already been followed by 3 or 4 guys, including one of them who I've seen follow us from the second we got out of the baggage area.
We should check your passport and visa.
It's almost 1 a.m.
Yes. Also,
I know. This is what happens when you do journalism in Xinjiang.
If I did attend the lectures, this is something that I would love to ask him. Freedom of religious beliefs is well protected. Complete bull. I'm a Christian, and I personally have friends in my church who went to China as missionaries and were eventually blacklisted by the government. So this does not sound like freedom at all. How did the word underground Christian begin? In countries such as China and probably North Korea, where they had to do it secretly. Hong Kong and Taiwan. Okay, this really ticked me off.
Hong Kong is a special administrative region of China, a part of the People's Republic of China. In recent years, Hong Kong has experienced prolonged social unrest. Violence went rampant. One of the reasons is that there are deficiencies and loopholes in Hong Kong's legal system, including its electoral system. Some forces have entered various government and legislative institutions via election and engaged in anti-China activities to disrupt Hong Kong's social order. The National People's Congress recently has made a decision to improve Hong Kong's electoral system, which is necessitated by the need to advance one country, two system and maintain long-term stability in Hong Kong. It is totally constitutional, lawful, and justified. Implementing the requirement of patriots administering Hong Kong is essential to improving Hong Kong's electoral system, loyalty to the motherland.
This guy is talking as if we Hong Kongers are terrorists who just want to destroy our city because we are anti-China. And no, we are not anti-China. We are anti-CCP. China, CCP, big difference. If we are anti-China, then we would not be holding vigils every year to commemorate all the victims of the Tiananmen Square protests in 1989. This guy is now making it seem like we Hong Kongers are against Chinese people. It is good that he mentioned the National People's Congress, but why didn't he bother to talk more about the decisions that they made, such as the National Security Law, a complete violation of the Sino-British Joint Declaration, where it was agreed that Hong Kong would remain unchanged for 50 years under the one country, two system. But of course, the Chinese regime would never keep their promise because they are so power hungry. Starting off with the universal suffrage in Hong Kong, the extradition bill, and the national security law, which we consider to be the end of the one country, two system in Hong Kong. But the main reason why we Hong Kongers have been out there protesting, not rioting, is because we are trying to fight for democracy. However, we cannot do that anymore since the national security law destroyed it. It's funny that he said loyalty to the motherland and patriotism, and he did not go further in talking about what would happen if Hong Kongers refused to do so.
The question of Taiwan is the most important and sensitive core issue in China-US relations. The One China principle is the political foundation of the relationship, a red line that cannot be trespassed or crossed. There's no room for compromise or concession from the Chinese side on that issue. The Chinese government resolve to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity is rock firm. We hope the US side will abide by One China principle.
And about Taiwan, it is very frustrating. Taiwan is a country, but most nations do not recognize it as one because of the pressures made by the Chinese regime, such as being removed from the World Health Organization, the United Nations, and only allowed to participate under Chinese Taipei in the Olympics. Any countries that have relations with Taiwan, they are considered to be informal, unfortunately. So this guy is persuading Americans on accepting that Taiwan is part of China, not its own country. And whoever says Taiwan is a country, well, look at what happened to John Cena. After what happened in Hong Kong, Taiwan could be the Chinese regime's next target. I mean, it already began. Xi Jinping is already pressuring Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen to accept one country, two system. But fortunately, she said as long as she is president, she would never accept one country, two system in Taiwan.
We hope the United States will respect China's core interests, national dignity, and rights to development. We urge the US to handle those issues which involve China's sovereignty and territorial integrity, such as Taiwan, Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and Tibet, with caution. These issues bear the core interests of China and touch upon the sentiments of 1.4 billion Chinese people. Any improper handling will create serious damage to the relationship. We hope that the US side will stop meddling in China's internal affairs and stop using this issue to hold back China's development.
So this guy is basically telling the US to stop interfering with the Chinese regime's heinous actions towards Xinjiang, Hong Kong, Tibet, and Taiwan. There's a lot more that I would like to say, but these are the top 3 which really ticked me off. I'm really angry and disappointed that SDSU brought this CCP propaganda and allowed it to brainwash fellow Aztecs. I really urge SDSU to never do something like this again. And I also urge fellow Aztecs to not attend any lectures that are related to the Chinese regime. Zhang Ping's so-called talk about improving relations and maintaining peace is complete bull. And in fact, this guy is completely full of crap. Improving relations with China would only create fear, not peace. And to Zhang Ping, if you see this video, I just want to say, 你们共产党是狗，你们去死啦! In closing, when it comes to the Chinese regime, peace was never an option. In order to achieve peace, we need to get ugly with the Chinese Communist Party. As long as the Chinese regime exists, there will never be peace.